taking flight. Racing thunder, tearing the air. Beagles, trucks, we're beyond compare. Metal morphosis, we ride, we dare. Fast and loud, no time to spare. Rafting close to the windshield blade. Adrenaline rush fills a fire grenade. Roaring past the clouds, will let you roar. Every lap, every turn, craving more. Push the pedal down, nothing left to lose. Victory's a choice and this is what we choose. Racing thunder, tearing the air. Beagles, trucks, we're beyond compare. Metal morphosis, we ride, we dare. Fast and loud, no time to spare. No time to spare. Push the pedal down, nothing left to lose. Victory's a choice and this is what we choose. Racing thunder, tearing the air. Beagles, trucks, we're beyond compare. Metal morphosis, we ride, we dare. Fast and loud, no time to spare. Rubber bones, trains ignite. Steel beats charging into the fight. No regrets, no slowing down. We're the kings of this battleground. No time to spare. No time to spare. No time to spare. No time to spare. Engines screaming, tires bite the ground. Beagles, trucks, we're legends of ground. Metamorphosis, name burning in the night. Lights flash, speed clash, we're taking flight. Racing thunder, tearing the air. Beagles, trucks, we're beyond compare. Metamorphosis, we ride, we dare. Fast and loud, no time to spare. Rafting close to the windshield blade. Adrenaline rush fills a fire grenade. Roaring past the clouds, will let you roar. Every lap, every turn, craving more. Push the pedal down, nothing left to lose. Victory's a choice and this is what we choose. Racing thunder, tearing the air. Beagles, trucks, we're beyond compare. Metal morphosis, we ride, we dare. Fast and loud, no time to spare. No time to spare. Push the pedal down, nothing left to lose. Victory's a choice and this is what we choose. Racing thunder, tearing the air. Beagles, trucks, we're beyond compare. Metal morphosis, we ride, we dare. Fast and loud, no time to spare. Rubber bones, trains ignite. Steel beats charging into the fight. No regrets, no slowing down. We're the kings of this battleground. No time to spare. No time to spare. No time to spare. No time to spare.
Planning. Possibility. At Metamorphosis Machine, we turn ideas into engineered reality. Whether you're working with plastics, composites, ferrous or non-ferrous metals, our capabilities and vast partner network ensure no project is too big, too small, or too complex. From concept to completion, your success starts here. Discover how Metamorphosis can elevate your machining needs today. Precision.
Woo! Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome in as these drivers get ready to rumble for race number 2 here in the Metamorphosis. The Richard Brashaw presents the HCK Beagles Truck Series powered by Metamorphosis Machine LLC here this evening as we'll get ready to set all these drivers loose, as right now they are all hoping to try to find themselves into the Tech Warrior Pole Award here this evening. Right now, Cal Turbeville, the driver that came home third in last week's feature event, sitting right now as the quick time out there on the speedway. Just a couple drivers left to qualify. We'll have to wait and see if Brad Lane and Kyle Van Tassel can get out there. But as of right now, it looks like Cal Turbeville potentially earning the Tech Warrior Pole Award here this evening. Great lap, great run right there for Cal, looking to back up a big win last week for him and the team as he was able to come home in third. His teammate in the 50 ride able to pick up the dub. Now, we don't see the 50 ride out there on the speedway here this evening, so unfortunately, doesn't look like we'll have last week's winner in attendance, so we will get a new winner here this evening in race number 2. So that's going to make things that much more interesting, that much more fun here this evening for all these drivers, knowing that we will park a new driver up and into victory lane here this evening. As qualifying has come to a close, it is Cal Turbeville who's able to win the Tech Warrior Pole Award here this evening. As we'll get ready to set these drivers loose, we'll get ready to go to battle here in the Metamorphosis Series sponsored race number 2 as we get ready to set them loose. We get ready to see who can find victory lane. As K-Dub in the chat says, forgot to mention my interview last week, but that was my 100th start in the HCK Beagles. Man, that is absolutely insane. 101 starts now tonight for Kevin Winker here in the HCK Beagles. Man, that's crazy. That's crazy. 101 starts here with the series. It's Janelle. How are you, Janelle? Janelle says, let's go Team HP Motorsports, cheering on the Ridge Powersports KR Gutters rides here this evening as we do see all these drivers getting loaded into the sim. Cal Turbeville with the Tech Warrior pole position here this evening. To his outside, that will be the 68 of Evan Goulmet. Goulmet will start there in P2. Supposed to be starting in the second row in position number 3, the 5 ride of Nicholas Snyder, and to his outside will be the 19 ride of Ed Koschersberger. Waiting for them to load in is Ryan Peterson in his Ridge Powersports KR Gutters number 469 ride will start there in 5th. To his outside in the Juke Joint Friends for Pets number 4, it is Tim Blankenbeckler starting there in 6th. Starting back in 7th, the Jegs.com number 45, that is Chris Gilbert. To his outside in the Waffle House number 14, that is Kyle Wiggins. Starting in position number 9 in the Tech Warrior number 12 machine, that is Tim Felker. Felker will start there in 9th. And to his outside in the Ridge Powersports number 77 machine. So Brandon Deming, new team, new ride here this evening. Remember, we see him in that Ghost Energy ride, but now in the Ridge machine, he'll start in position number 10. Starting back in 11th in the beautiful Midnight Racing League number 25 ride, that is Gordon Glidewell. To his outside in the Muleburger Custom Homes. Sonic Graphic Designs, the 42, the Winker Nation machine, that is Kevin Winker starting there in 12th. Starting back in the 11th position, I do believe will be the 18 ride, that is the Metamorphosis Machine LLC number 18. Jacob will start there in position number 13. To his outside, his teammate in that Warrior Racing, the Tech Warrior ride, that is the 20 of Jason LePan starting there in 14th. Starting back in the 15th position in the number 87, that is John Herbert. To his outside in the 83, it is the Friends for Pets, the Juke Joint, the 83 ride. It's Dimitri Curtis who will start there in the 16th position. Then we do see Kyle Van Tassel, and it looks like, unfortunately for Brad Lane not qualifying here this evening, not out there on the racetrack. He'll have to start this race from down pit side, but he is our driver scored back in the 18th position as here we go, getting ready to set them loose. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you came here for a show, well, here you go. As the pace car makes a hard left-hand turn down pit side, we will end all the anticipation with our feature presentation as we are quickly green flag racing here from the beautiful Auto Club Speedway. As Cal Turboville out in front, going to get a great shove down the front straightaway. The fine ride of Nicholas Snyder all over his back bumper, but it pushes him out to a nice race lead. Looks like he'll be easily able to do the 68 right of Evan Goulet. Goulet will slide back into that third position as you'll see Turboville and Snyder both jump right up in front of him, but a good run out at corner number 2 for that hometown garage, number 68, as Goulet looks to take that second spot back away. He's able to make that pass to down to corner number 3, but out of corner number 4, we'll have to see if he can hold on to it as here comes that 5 right, and the rest of the field to hunt him down as lap number 1. Going to go to our third place finisher last Tuesday night in our season opener in that beautiful Howard Innovative Physical Physiotherapy number 64 ride. Now, spot. Evan Goulet right there behind him in position number 2. Snyder lurking back there in that third position as Chris Gilbert early on moving forward. He's gained 3 spots, now finds himself into that 4th position as Ryan Peterson trying to hold on to a top 5. Kyle Wiggins there in 6th, Brandon May up and into 7th here. He's gained a few spots early on. It's Ed Koschersberger and his Tech Warrior. Chevy Silverado slid back into about 8th position, and Tim Blankenbeckler unfortunately slid back a couple spots as well, as he now sits in the 8th, 9th spot as he battles the door there with that 19 ride. John Herbert trying to move forward here, the 87 ride. In the Powersports AR Gunner paint scheme, but a plain Jane paint scheme here this evening. So for the 87 ride, he worked his way up inside the top 10, up 6 positions early in this feature event in the 87. Looks to keep on moving forward. Our top 10. And right there in the 11th position, just on the outside of the top 10, looking in, watching these guys battle there for that 7th or 8th, 9th, and 10th position as Jacob Root there in spot. Then we do see a couple other drivers, but we do see a couple having to serve penalties. One of those being our 3rd place driver, the Snyder Bees machine, the 5 ride of Nicholas Snyder and Dimitri Curtis in the Friends for Pets number 83. Looks like both drivers unfortunately getting penalties for last week's race, and both drivers will have to do a pass-through penalty down pit side. This is a tough one. You just gotta hope that you see an early caution flag to try and get yourself back into the action. Unfortunately there for both drivers, they're gonna lose a ton of time. And for Dimitri Curtis, oh no. This could be a heartbreaker here for Dimitri. Look like coming down pit road to serve that penalty, he ends up getting another penalty. And you see our race leaders coming out of corner number 2 right behind him. He is more than likely going to lose a lap here. So for the 83 ride, he is definitely going to fall a lap down just alone out there on the racetrack. But now seeing that he's going to make another trip down pit side, this is really going to hurt his chances here this evening. A pit road penalty for the 83. He's going to have to make another trip to pit road here. He's just got to make sure he does not speed this time. He's got to make sure he hits pit road perfectly, does not make a mistake. You do not need or want another issue that could set you back even more in this race. As of right now, he's the only driver that is a lap down. That is the saving grace here, as Nicholas Snyder still a good distance in front of Cal Turboville and the rest of our race leaders. He's got a bit of straightaway, he's got the speed, he's got the pace. He should be able to probably keep himself on the lead lap here for a little while. You just gotta hope that we catch a caution flag, and potentially for Dimitri Curtis, he gets that wave around, gets back out onto the racetrack and gets back into the action as here he comes down here. And it looks like still another penalty here. I'm not sure what's going on with Dimitri Curtis and why he keeps getting black flags. I wonder if this is a stop and go penalty, if he's going to get a hold down pit road, and Dimitri may not realize that. He may actually have to go into his pit stall, stop, wait a couple minutes or 30 seconds, whatever the hold may be. And unfortunately for the 83 ride, just compounding issues here. The Friends for Pets ride, not the start he wanted, not the start he needed. You just gotta hope that now we see a bunch of caution flags to try and get him back into this race. So he may have to go back down pit road, make another trip down pit side. This time has to get stopped in his pit stall. Looks like he's gonna keep on rolling. Oh man, that's a heartbreaker there for the 83. It's out in front. It is still the 64 ride. Cal Turboville continue to lead the way. And the Met right there in second with Chris Gilbert working in the weeds here. Back in that third position, Ryan Peterson in that beautiful four-wheel ride. The awfulness machine of Michael Wiggins right there ready to pounce as John Herbert back there in sixth. Brandon Domingue, Tim Blankenbeckler, and Koshersberger and Jason LePan rounding out our top 10 here with Jacob Root back there in that Warrior Racing. The USA, the Metal Morphosis Machine LLC ride. There goes like our top 10. It's kind of fantastic. And Tim Belker right there with them. And that 42 of Kevin Winter, K-Dub right there within striking distance. A little farther back, you do see the 25 ride of Gordon Glidewell. Glidewell back there in that 15th spot. And unfortunately for Snyder, he's still back here in 16th. He needs a yellow flag to try to catch back up to the field. And for Dimitri Curtis, looks like the black flag has been cleared for the 83 ride. So at least that is a great break there for the 83. That means he does not have to make another trip down pit side. But unfortunately, here early in this race for the 83, he has earned himself 2 black flags and 2 penalties. But unfortunately finds himself now 2 laps down. So he's going to need at least a couple caution flags. Hope that no one else goes a lap down. And if one driver does lose a lap, that would move them into the free pass position where Dimitri would need even more good breaks, go his way, more caution flags to try to get himself back into the action, back on the lead lap in this race. It's not over. It can definitely happen. We've seen it done before. So he's just going to keep on rolling, try to keep himself here just 2 laps down. Hope no one else loses a lap and starts to see a couple drivers run into issues. And now that we continue to keep on rolling these laps and we're starting to put more and more stress onto these tires, we're going to start to see some numbers and some goals out there on the racetrack. The harder you are on your tires early on in this race, the more wear and tear you're going to do to them, the more tire damage that you're going to produce, and potentially you can feel that pain later in the run because the tire wear is going to be a big factor here in this feature. 10 laps already completed for these drivers. So 10 laps already done here today, and for all these cats out there on the speedway, they're just hoping that they can just keep on finding the good grooves, finding the good lanes, keep on running their race. They know they still got a lot of laps left to go. They're going to have a bunch of pit stops here, probably at least, I'm going to say at least 2, maybe 3 pit stops here for this feature event, which could open the door for more drivers to run into issues, more drivers to get penalties or anything else that could affect their rides. So we've already seen Dimitri run into one of those problems down pit road. It can very easily happen to any one of these drivers here at the front of the field. So just got to make sure you keep yourself out of trouble. You got to make sure you do not run into issues and start compounding problems out there on the speedway. You got to make sure that you keep your truck clean, you don't make any mistakes down pit side, and keep yourself in this race. As Cal Turboville continues to lead here in this one. So far, he's been that reflection of perfection. Qualified in that pole position, has led all 12 laps up to this point, but he still has that 68 ride of Evan Goulmet right there on his back bumper. Now, I do believe that Evan and that 64 of Cal Turboville are teammates. I do believe they have been working together here this season, so we should see these guys working really well together, trying to just keep on running laps and seeing if they can just keep themselves here at the front of the field. And after such a great run and great performance last week, getting 2 of the HTG Motorsports rides, that's what they are calling themselves, that's their group name, the HTG Motorsports team. They've been looking really good here. Obviously, we saw Howard pick up the win last Tuesday, and we saw Cal come home in 3rd. So there were 2 out of the 3 inside the top 3. I do believe Evan fell back to about the 9th or 12th position, somewhere in there, getting caught up in a late race wreck there at Daytona. And unfortunately, not the run, not the performance that he was hoping for, but here tonight, looking really strong and sticking right there with his teammate, the 64 ride, but so isn't Chris Gilbert, Ryan Peterson, and Kyle Wiggins. Wiggins looking to have a good run here this evening as well. The Waffle House ride sitting right there in position number 5 as we are missing a few of the drivers that we normally see out here. A few cats not battling out there on the racetrack here tonight. We don't see we don't see Austin Gustafson out there. Normally we see Austin out there playing and racing with us here this season, and we haven't seen him out on the Speedway. We're missing a few of the other ones. Gary Wright, we saw Josh Freed, no Lapidus, no Nick Gardner, no Rob McDonald out there on the racetrack, so no Trench out there either. Zach Michael's not out there, so we are missing quite a few drivers here this evening. No Elmer Anderson, no Alexander Pelican, no Andrew Hainsley, man. There's a lot of guys. Bobby Blair, where the heck is Bobby Blair been? We haven't seen him out there in this race. Brett Summers as well. We're missing Brett out there on the racetrack, man. There's so many fast cats that unfortunately aren't out there on the Speedway battling racing with us here this evening. We need to get those guys into the action and back out there onto the racetrack to make this much more fun. No Jeremy Lucy, I don't believe, in this race either. So just Callaway, man, where the heck did all these guys go to? John McCullich, no John McCullich out there. Chat or drivers, if you guys are rewatching this, man, you guys got to get these guys in here. We need to get Joshua Moore out there. We need to get Peacock, Ely, and Ledoux back out there on the Speedway as well, man. There's so many fast cats that should be out there. Where's Keith Brands? Why isn't Keith out there? We need Keith back out on the racetrack. Where in the heck are all these guys? Nathaniel Ostrowiski not out there. Robert Howard not out there tonight. Last week's winner missing out on the racing action. Tyler Lemon, who came home, what, 4th place? Lemon came home 4th last week, and he's not out there on the racetrack either. So a lot of drivers that haven't shown up yet this season. A lot of drivers that started the season off well, obviously with the win, a 4th place run. When you look at Howard, you look at Lemon, and both of those drivers not out there tonight. Man, that just really hurts their runs and their good momentum to start this season. As what's good, Shauna Rita? Shauna says hashtag Winker Nation. Tower operator with the hashtag Winker Nation in the chat as well. How are you, Bruce? How are you, Shauna? Hopefully you guys are having yourselves a wonderful Tuesday as you take a look back at that 42 of Kevin Winker. K-Dub sitting right now at about the 12th position in his Winker Nation ride. There's a whole gaggle of trucks though right here in front of him. I don't know if he wants to get in there and mess around with them or wait for them to start to fall off a little bit more. Hope to see them burn their tires up battling for position, but as of right now, this top 5 have split away by quite a bit. There's a 3-second gap here between Brandon and Ming. The Ming currently runs in that 6th position in his Ridge Powersports ride. He rolls there in 6th, and now we do see about 3 seconds between him and this second pack here that's kind of produced out there on the racetrack, man. This is kind of crazy. Normally we don't see, you know, a big gap like this, but there you go. You get a great look at it right there. The difference between our top 5 in the rest of the field is Cal Turbeville, Evan Goulmet, Chris Gilbert, Ryan Peterson, and Kyle Wiggins have opened up a 3+ second lead between themselves and our second pack here. As you do see Jacob Krug looking to try to get around Brandon Domingue here for that 6th position. John Herbert right there in 8th, and Blankenbackler. Kevin Winker, K-Dubs right into the mix now. He's already worked himself around the 20 of Jason LePan, now working to the outside of the 19 of Ed Coffenberger for that number 83, Dimitri Curtis. Curtis, unfortunately, a couple laps down here early in this race, had a pass-through penalty from last week, and then all of a sudden earned himself another penalty down pit road, serving that penalty, so end up with 2 black flags, had to make 2 trips down pit road, and unfortunately for Dimitri, for both of those trips down pit side, ended up losing 2 laps out there on the racetrack, and now he really desperately needs to try and find a couple caution flags to get himself into the action, into the battle here this evening. But as these drivers continue to duke it out, continue to battle here in this one, we're inching closer and closer to the end of our first stage of the day. Our one and only stage will complete at the end of lap 26. So the completion of lap 26 will be the end of our stage. Now the stage is only merely for points. There is no stage break. There will be no caution flag unless if there is an issue on the speedway. But if we stay clean and green, there is no yellow flag to be thrown at the completion of lap 26, where we will hand out stage points. Those stage points on the line here. I do believe, again, it is the top 6 drivers all earn stage points. And now those stage points can really make or break your season. You earn some of those stage points. It can take a mediocre run and turn it into a good day at the Speedway. It can take a bad run and turn it into a mediocre run, or it can turn a good points day into an even better points day. If you're Cal Turboville, you win the stage, all of a sudden you win the race. You just maximized your points. You just gave yourself a massive jump here in the point standings that really helps you out throughout this season, and one, not only trying to earn bonus points for our playoffs, but also putting yourself into a better playoff position for when the playoffs get started. So for Cal Turboville right now, he's looking really, really good, but we'll have to wait and see if somebody can make a late race charge to see if they can try and steal this stage win away from the 64 ride. Is Cal out in front, down and out of quarter number 4. Once again, back down across the start finish line. Looks like he will lead lap 22 here this evening. So 22 laps completed here for Cal Turboville, as Turboville out in front, continue to lead this race as he sees teammate Evan Gilmet potentially get around him, win this stage. What about Chris Gilbert? Does he have something left in the tank here for these guys? Can he jump up, make the move around the 68 and the 64, and put himself up and in to the stage win here today? And what has Ryan Peterson got left? What about Kyle Wiggins? Can they jump up there? Can they make a play for it? As unfortunately Jacob Krug, who's currently in that 6th and final point-paying position here for this stage, he's too far back here. He's over 3.1 seconds back of Kyle Wiggins here, about 4 seconds back of our race leader. I don't think he's going to have an opportunity to jump up there and battle with these guys for the stage points, but you do see that the 77 of Brandon Deming sticking right there with him. Does Deming make a move, trying to get back around this 18, trying to earn at least a stage point here this evening to help his day get that much better? What about K-Dub? Winker's now worked his way up into that 8th position. Does he have a late race truck where he can start to make some moves and potentially work himself up and into the picture here for a good run? And by the looks of things, for how far these drivers have been running without coming down pit road, without needing fuel so far, they started this race with only 70% fuel capacity, and every time they come down pit road, that's all they're going to get. Is now here we go. We do see Jacob Grube and we see LePan head down pit road. Now we see Tim Felker also down pit side. Look out, Felker and LePan getting squirrely headed down pit side. You do see Kyle Van Tassel also heading down pit road. So about 4 drivers coming down pit side that time to make sure they get fuel and everything else before the end of this stage. In which case, that is a couple laps before pit road here, or before the end of the stage. So we're gonna wait and see. Can drivers make it to lap 26? Will we see them get there? It looks like we're going to see them at least make another trip here around the Speedway, so they're not coming down pit road as of yet, as they will complete lap 25. Next time by, we will hand out stage points. Can Cal Turboville hang on to it, win the stage here this evening? As Evan Gilmet right there with him, his teammate there in 2nd. Chris Gilbert, Ryan Peterson, Kyle Wiggins round out our top 5, and now it is the 77 of Brandon Deming who rounds out our top 6. But we do see John Herbert, we do see Gordon Glidewell, and Nicholas Snyder all head down pit side here on lap 25. So they come down pit road a little bit earlier. Let's see, do these drivers head down pit road this time? It looks like they are. So a lot of them can't make it to the end of the stage. We'll have to wait and see. Looks like we're going to see potentially K-Dub. Kevin Winker is going to stay out, and Kevin Winker will win stage number 1 here this evening. He wins the stage here in this one, playing that strategy down across the line on pit road. Cal Turboville will come home in 2nd. Evan Gilmet will come home in 3rd. Chris Gilbert, Kyle Wiggins, and Ryan Peterson will round out our top 6, all earning stage points here today. But you take a look at Kevin Winker, K-Dub, saved some fuel, sat back there, waited patiently. Obviously, everyone else could not make it more than 26 laps. He saved enough fuel that he was good to go. He's going to come down pit road this next time by, and the strategy works out perfectly here for the 42 ride, as Kevin Winker, K-Dub, wins that stage. Has the race lead. He will lead another lap here down and across the line as Kyle Wiggins, Cal Turboville, all these drivers trying to build up that speed. You do see Jacob Brug, who is back out on the racetrack. He came down pit road a couple laps before these guys. Looks like that early pit stop will pay huge dividends for the 18 run as Jacob Grube able to take over the race lead. So for Grube, he is now out in front. Kyle Wiggins will come out of the pits in second. Cal Turboville there in third, as we do see K-Dub still down pit road. Looks like he'll complete his pit stop. He'll get ready to roll back out onto the racetrack. Unfortunately, he will fall back probably into about that 10th, 12th position, somewhere in there when he rejoins the field. We'll have to wait and see, but he will have the freshest tires. He will have a little bit more fuel in that ride, and if he can kind of play that strategy again, I don't know, it's going to make things very, very interesting. So they come down pit road around lap 24, lap 26, 25, somewhere in that area, meaning that for a lot of these drivers, they can probably only go until about, let's say, lap 50, lap 51, lap 52, somewhere in there for their second green flag pit stops, meaning that these drivers will have to make a third green flag pit stop here this evening. They will have to come back down pit road. I'm going to say probably somewhere around lap number 75-ish, somewhere in that area. Seems to be that 25-lap run is all they can get out of the fuel tanks here in this one, as Jacob Grube out in front as the race lead. Kyle Wiggins there in second. Cal Turboville right in third, and it looks like he's going to make the move down to the inside of that 14 ride. We're going to get back up into that second spot on the speedway. Now, they do have a couple lap better tires than Jacob Grube, so they may be able to reel in that 18 ride, but for Grube, that may have been the break that he's been looking for, that he needed right there to kind of get himself a little extra track position and put himself into a good spot here for later in this run. As right now he's trying to hang with these guys, trying to make sure that he sticks with them, as there's now a gap between Evan Goulmet, our 4th place driver, and our 5th place competitor, that 469 of Ryan Peterson. Peterson back in position number 5 if they're on the speedway. John Herbert there in 6th with Jace LePan back in 7th for Chris Gilbert. A little bit of a slower pit stop here for that 45 ride. Unfortunately, he finds himself now back in position number 8. Brandon Deming there in 9th, but he does have K-Dub, Kevin Winker, right there with them. So for the Muhlenberger Custom Homes number 42 ride inside the top 10 after winning that stage, he's going to be feeling pretty good, pretty excited about how that run played out and how that strategy played out into his favor right there. I think these stages are really going to help propel this 42 ride into a good season here. We see him often trying to play those strategy games, trying to make sure that his strategy works out perfectly and puts him into a position that he can use it to his advantage to try and win some of these stages, earn those extra points, put himself into those same positions throughout the season, and that's a big point swing right there. He was sitting back in about that 8th position before green flag pit stop started. If drivers could have went, a couple laps longer, then he probably wouldn't have earned any stage points. Instead, he wins that stage. That gives him, I do believe, a playoff point plus 6 extra points, or I'm not sure how they break it down. Maybe it's 10 points for the stage win as well. So that ends up making a mediocre day into a very, very good day for Kevin Winker when it comes down to the points here. So we'll have to keep an eye on K-Dub and how he's going to be able to play out those strategies here throughout the rest of the season, as we do see Cal Turboville back out in front. Did not give up that race lead for very long. Grube falls back into third here as Evan Goulmet and Turboville both able to get around him. Kyle Wiggins also falling back here from that lead group as well. He's falling quite a bit back the last couple of times around. He has been almost half a second slower than pretty much everyone else out there on the racetrack. So I'm not sure if Wiggins is just trying to play some of the strategy now, maybe try to save some tire for later in this run, knowing that if he can get another good run, have these tires hold on a little bit longer, that he can gain all this track position back, hunt down Evan Goulmet, hunt down that 64 of Cal Turboville, and try to put this Waffle House ride potentially out in front before the end of this pit cycle, as we will see these drivers head back down pit road. Probably right around lap number 50, somewhere in that area. These drivers will start to head back down pit side, start to make those pit stops again, and that should open up the door for potential more issues for more drivers. We do see Nicholas Snyder still on the lead lap here. Same with Kyle Van Tassel. Van Tassel, though, is fairly close to potentially going a lap down here. He's not too far away from our race leaders. He's still a good chunk, though. Still a good chunk here. Is now the back straightaway. He's about 25% of the way from going to laps down here, so it's 75% of the racetrack behind our race leaders, but should hopefully hold on to a lead lap for now. And for Dimitri Curtis, who is still a couple laps down, actually looks like he's now going to be scored 3 laps down here in the 83 ride, so that is a tough spot to be if you're Dimitri Curtis. You need to start to see some caution flags here, especially before drivers like Van Tassel, Snyder, Glidewell, any of these other cats start to go a lap down, because as they lose a lap, it puts them into the lucky dog position and takes Dimitri out of that lucky dog spot, and it will make things much more difficult here. May make for a very long day for Dimitri Curtis, driving back there in that 17th position on the speedway. But for Cal Turboville out in front. He is feeling A-OK as him and his teammate run 1 and 2 is down across the line. They will click off lap number 35. So 35 laps completed and only 50 laps left to go here from the beautiful Auto Club Speedway. His tower operators is excellent there to Kevin Winker's stage win here this evening, earning those points, putting them into his back pocket here in this one. Definitely a great break right there for Mr. Winker here this evening, earning those extra stage points, putting himself into that position, and that is a big thing to do, man. That's a big thing to do, putting yourself into that spot, earning those stage points, and potentially allowing yourself to, really gain an extra edge over the rest of your competitors when it comes down to our point standings. But as of right now, it seems to be Cal Turboville's race. I don't know if these guys have just been practicing all week long, or if they have just found something here in these NASCAR trucks. But for this HGT team, they have been hooked up here all season long. They have been already just 2 races in, looking very dominant. So the HTG Motorsports group here has been looking very fast, very good. They are over there in the Discord right now. Kel and Evan, they're listening to Night Town by Jason Aldean right now, so they're listening to a little bit of country music over there, enjoying some Spotify while they're just cruising out there on the speedway, man. Just out on cruise control, just running very good laps, running well together, and obviously working perfectly again here as a team. Now they're missing out on last week's winner, their 3rd teammate, Ryan Howard. Unfortunately, Ryan not out there on the speedway here tonight, but still potentially could see a Howard ride up and into victory lane, potentially one of his HTG Motorsports teammates getting the job done here in this one, as they've been dominant. They've been out in front. Callo's led, I don't even know, probably about 35, 34 laps of this race. The only time he was not leading this race was the couple laps that we saw Kevin Winker lead it while he was down pit road, and then we saw a few laps there when Jacob Group was out in front after that pit cycle. But virtually once things kind of shook loose and everything kind of lined back up after those green flag pit stops, it did not take long for the 64 ride to get back out in front. So Turboville, Evan Goulmet 1 and 2. They got about a 1.7 second gap between themselves and Jacob Group, as Group still holds on to position number 3. Ryan Peterson about 0.8 of a second back of Group. He rolls there in 4th. He's got Kyle Wiggins right there with them as they roll back in 4th and 5th. They're about 3 seconds back of our race leader, Chris Gilbert, there in 6th with Kevin Winker. K-Dub racing his way now up and inside the top 7. So the little fresher tire in that stage win, maybe building some confidence here for Kevin Winker as K-Dub now sits in that 7th spot. We'll have to wait and see if he can keep on tracking down some of these drivers in front of him, making some more moves and trying to work himself up towards the top 5 before we start to see these guys come back down pit road. As Brandon Deming is back there in the 9th position. That is the beautiful looking ride of Jason LePan. LePan rolls there in position number 10 on the speedway. Let's get a look at this one, as that is the Richard Bradshaw ride right there. Richard Bradshaw on board here with the HCK Beagles this season. We can't thank Richard Bradshaw enough here with the Morphosis Machine LLC for being our series sponsor here this year. We love to see his face there on board with the 20 ride of Jason LePan, looking fresh out there on the racetrack and really giving us a great look there at the man, the myth, the legend, Richard Bradshaw. We haven't seen Richard in the chat here tonight, but I'm sure he'll be watching it again. Richard, if you are watching it, brother, make sure you jump in the comment section. Let us know how you're doing, how you're feeling, and hopefully you're having yourself a wonderful day, whether you're watching this again here Tuesday night or if you're re-watching it potentially on Wednesday or Thursday, man, or whenever you get around to it. We hope that you're having yourself a wonderful day, and a huge shout out there to Richard Bradshaw. As Jason still rolling there in that 10th position. We do see Ed Koshersberger back there in position number 11. Tim Blankenbeckler in the Friends for Pets, the juke joint number 4 right there in 12th. For the 83 right of Dimitri Curtis, unfortunately for Dimitri, still 3 laps out. The only driver that is a lap down out there on the racetrack. He's back in the 17th spot on the speedway. Tim Felker just down the front straightaway here. He scored back in 13th. Gordon Glidewell there in 14th. Nicholas Snyder hoping to try to catch up to these guys, hoping to at least gain a couple more positions here in this race after serving a penalty from last week, the 5 ride. Unfortunately, coming down pit road on lap number 3 here this evening. Gave up all that track position, gave up such a great start to this race, and for the 5 ride, no caution flags yet to reel in all these drivers to put himself back into contention here this evening as the 5 sits back in that 15th spot on the speedway. He's got that 25 and the 12 right there in front of him. Kyle Van Tassel back in the 16th spot here on the speedway. Kyle is the next driver to potentially go a lap down, as our race leaders are not too far away from potentially putting that number 13 ride a lap down here. They're just down across the start finish line. He's not even into corner number 1 yet, so he's about a half of a straightaway away from potentially going a lap down here. And if he does lose a lap, that will take Dimitri Curtis out of the lucky dog position. That will move Dimitri into a non-lucky dog spot, and that is a tough place to be, as if we see a caution flag, it will not give him a free pass. He will not get a lap back, and it will not get him closer to potentially getting back on the lead lap here this evening. And after those, the black flag to start this race, and then another black flag down pit road, losing 3 laps there was a very, very tough start to this feature event for Dimitri. We'll have to keep an eye out on him, see how this kind of shapes out for the 83 ride, but I think for the most part these guys may go clean and green. We may see these guys finish this race off without having a caution flag and without a yellow flag. That is really going to hurt his chances here this evening, and it's probably going to keep him back there in the last place position here throughout this race. As out in front, Evan Gomet continues to lead the way here. Gomet still out in front. His teammate Cal Turbeville right there. Actually, no, Gomet able to take the lead away from Cal Turbeville. So this is the first time we've actually seen these two kind of switch positions, as Gomet now out in front. Cal Turbeville goes back into position number 2. So teammates decide, you know what, let's switch things up here. As now we do see some early pit stops. We do see Jacob Grube and Jason LePan come down pit road. Now this is quite a bit sooner than I expected these guys to come down pit road, but I feel like they're trying to split this final bit of the run as we are now completing 45 laps. We got 40 laps left to go here in this race, so I feel these two are probably planning on running this 20 laps and then another 20 lap run to really split this race up. So we should see them back down pit road around lap 65 here and then have another 20 lap run to finish off this race, and that could be a really good strategy. They are going to get quite a bit of laps here, I think, with some fresher tires than the rest of the field. That could gain them a ton of track position. That could really open up the door for these guys to build a bit of a lead, to build a bit of a cushion here before everyone else starts to come down pit side. They just got to hope there is no yellow flags. They got to hope that there's nothing that affects their strategy here this evening, but I definitely like it. It's definitely not a bad strategy. Gives you a lot of time to really work these fresh tires in, gain a lot of track position, gain a lot of track time over all your other competitors, and trying to leapfrog some of these guys into a better finish here this evening. As Gomet and Turboville continue to run 1 and 2 out there on the speedway, they got about 1.8, 1.9 1.9 seconds between themselves and our third place driver, Kyle Wiggins. Ryan Peterson right there in fourth. Chris Gilbert rounding out our top 5 is now, here you go, you see that 18 ride. He's already caught up to speed with these guys, and you'll now start to see what these fresh tires can do around some of the older tires as you're going to watch this 18 ride kind of just roll right around these guys. They're going to be virtually sitting still, and he's going to be able to use those fresh tires to his advantage and just open up a big lead. We did see Van Tassel also come down pit road there that last time by. So for Van Tassel, he rolls back out onto the racetrack. Unfortunately, it does look like he has lost a lap. We'll have to see if he can race his way back onto the lead lap here this evening, as for the most part, the strategy here, the short pit, works out really well for these drivers, but the only thing is that later in the run, you give so much back to the drivers that come down pit road after you, where right now we'll see him be the fastest truck out there when these guys get their pit stops, later in that run. The 18th ride will start to fall off. These guys will still have pretty good tires. They'll be able to hunt him down and get around him. You just got to hope that he can take advantage of these tires, build up big enough leads, especially through this cycle and the next pit cycle, that potentially it gives him a huge edge here late in this race, where they won't have enough time to hunt him down. They won't have enough time to chase down this 18 ride, and potentially it could be the strategy that works Jacob Grube into victory lane, as we do see Gordon Glidewell now down pit road. Grube has raced his way back on the lead lap as Evan Goulmet and Cal Turbeville continue to lead the way here in this one. Evan and Cal sit 1 and 2 on the racetrack as they battle back here for position number 3. Ryan Peterson and Kyle Wiggins, they're in 3rd and 4th. And you see that 45 rider, Chris Gilbert, he's right here into the battle. K-Dub, Kevin Winker, he's trying to hunt these guys down as well. He's trying to jump back into this fight as he rolls in that 6th position. K-Dub, the Winker Nation ride, maybe some strategy plays out perfectly into his hands. We'll have to wait and see. Now, here we go. Here comes K-Dub. Here comes Kyle Wiggins and the 45 of Chris Gilbert. So some of our front runners come down pit road, maybe trying to short pit here a couple laps to help them out, to put them into a good position as they come down pit side here on lap number 50. Looks like Gilmet and Turbeville going to stay out for a little bit longer here, at least another lap. We'll see if they tend to keep it going. If they go, another 2-3 laps here, and see how far they can push this fuel and put themselves into that position as where they kind of come down pit road when that strategy call is going to be. So it looks like they're not going to wait much longer as here they come down pit side. You just got to get checked up. You cannot get caught speeding here. This could be a potential make or break pit stop here for a lot of these drivers. See Brandon and Ming really slide it in there. Dang near Tokyo drifted into the corner. You see John Herbert, Tim Blankenbeckler also down pit side for Ryan Peterson. He's going to stay up for at least another lap. So isn't Ed Kosterberger. So they're trying to play a little bit of a longer run strategy here as Clement and Turbeville make their way down pit side. Now we should see Jacob Grube get in front of these two. Should be in front of the pack here. He should be the new race leader. Should have a bit of a gap here. Should have quite a bit of a lead between himself and the rest of these guys once things kind of cycle through. As you see Cal Turbeville and Gomet, they're still down pit road. They're just leaving their pit stalls, and you already see the 18th ride who's up to speed, who is battling hard. He's using these tires up, and for the Metamorphosis Machine LLC ride, he does have what would be the race lead here by quite a few seconds as you start to see some of these other drivers coming out of pit lane. You see Jason LePan, who came down pit road at the same time as Jacob Grube. He works himself into second. Now, unfortunately, they're going to have about 5, 6, 7 lap older tires than these drivers back behind them, so they should be able to catch up to these guys, pass them here pretty quickly, but we'll have to wait and see how this one plays out as Chris Gilbert, who came down pit road the lap prior to Gomet and Cal Turbeville, he's right to their inside. So isn't that 14 ride. Is this a tight battle back here for position number 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 out there on the racetrack? You see Kevin Wenker, K-Dub right there in the mix as well. Ryan Peterson just coming out of pit lane here. He's trying to catch up the speed here. He'll have the better tires over everyone else coming down a couple laps later here than these guys. So as he rolls back up the speed, he'll jump in front of Brandon DeMing for the 8th position. John Herbert back there in 10th. As you do see Ed Kochersberger, who was on that same strategy as the as the 469 ride comes out about the 11th position. So a lot of different strategies, a lot of different things here, as 213 Simware says, I am the king of pit road speeding, laugh out loud. Good racing out there, gang. Yeah, some great racing, some great battling, man, non-stop. Green flag racing, 0 caution flags here, and this is a normal thing that we see here with the HCK Beagles Truck Series is very, very minimal yellow flags. I think last season, I want to say there was at least 5, 6, maybe 7 races out of their 20 races that were clean and green, no caution flags, no issues. It may have been even more than that. It might have been half the season without a caution flag in their races. So for these drivers, one simple mistake, one penalty could take you out of this feature event, could take you out of it. We talked about the penalties from last week. Nicholas Snyder had to make a pass-through penalty here on lap number 3 to start this feature event. He qualified up in position number 3. He was running in that 3rd position, had to make that off-sequence black flag, pit road penalty down pit side here, and unfortunately for that 5 ride, he lost so much time, so much of a distance between himself and the rest of these drivers. He's only recovered back up into that 13th position where he's gotten around Tim Felker, Dimitri Curtis, who also had a black flag, Kyle Van Tassel, and Gordon Glidewell. So for Snyder, he's only gained back about 4 positions from that penalty that he had to serve from last week. And unfortunately, he's still stuck back in about the 13th position. He's over 12 seconds back of the cars in front of him and about 31 seconds back of our race leader. So for Nicholas Snyder, he still desperately needs a caution flag to try and get himself back into this action, back into this battle, as Grube has the race lead. But we do see Cal Turboville and the 68 of Evan Goulet. They're able to get around Chris Gilbert and Kyle Wiggins, and unfortunately for Jason LePan, that earlier pit stop does slide him back into about 7th, but we'll have to wait and see where things kind of net out here for him, where if that strategy works out better for him or worse for him. We'll have to wait and see how this plays out and pans out for Jason LePan here this evening. For right now, his teammate Jacob Grube. Grube's got a 6-second lead here, and really, for Jacob Grube, I think for this 18 ride, in their game plan, their strategy, they know everyone still has to come down pit road at least once more in this race. They still need to make one more pit stop here this evening. And I think for a couple of these guys, they're going to use that strategy a little bit earlier. We saw Grube, we saw LePan come down pit side on lap 45. I feel we're going to see these two back down pit road on lap 65 here this evening as well. So not too far away, man. Even if he gives up half a second a lap, I don't think that Evan Goulet and Cal Turboville will catch up to that 18 ride. And then it's all going to be down to basically that final pit stop when these guys decide to come down pit road. If there's a caution flag, if there's something that happens here, and how much that may hurt them or help them, as you see Cal Turboville going for a big slider right there over his teammate Goulet. Will try to hold on to that 3rd position as Chris Gilbert now taking a peek to his inside. You see the 14 of Kyle Wiggins and Kevin Winker right there, as well as K-Dub looking for another solid finish. We saw Winker come home position number 2 in last week's season opener. Can Winker find his way back up onto a podium here this evening? Can he get another good run out of that number 42 ride? Already won the stage here this evening. Can he finish this off with a solid top 5, top 3 run here in that Winker Nation ride? As each and every driver continues the battle, they continue to try to hunt down Jacob Grube. Is down and across the line. They will complete lap number 59 here this evening, and we're going to jump into a quick Peacemaker Gaming Crank It Up. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you haven't already, make sure you guys do us a favor, hit that like button, hit that share button, hit that follow and subscribe button as we get ready to set these drivers up for a little crank it up here this evening. Crank up that volume, man, and cheer these guys on. Give it up here for all of these drivers. A beautiful crank it up session here this evening. A beautiful crank it up here, giving these drivers giving all the fans in the stands the beautiful sights and sounds here of Auto Club Speedway is out in front leading this race. Yeah, the race lead came down pit road there. It will be Jacob Grube as John Herbert technically still out in front here. Herbert running a little bit longer here. He was last down pit road on lap number 51. He is staying out on the racetrack here much longer than everybody else. And for the 87 ride, he's got the race lead. He still has to make another pit stop here this evening, though. We'll have to wait and see if the fresh tires here late in the race can make up some ground for him, if he can use them to his advantage to, make some moves and race his way up towards the front. It's Grube, though. Came down pit road on lap 66 here. He does have the race lead after John Herbert comes down pit side, which is going to be, I don't know, he just blinked there a little bit. I don't know where John Herbert's actually disappeared to on the racetrack as blanking there he is. Okay, looks like he's staying out for at least another lap. So Jacob Grube, this is probably the battle for the race win right now between this 18 ride in the 64 Cal Turboville. The 68 of Evan Goulet and Kevin Winker all right there together. They got about a 1.7 gap between themselves and the 14 ride of Kyle Wiggins. He's got about the same gap back to the 469er Ryan Peterson. Brandon Ming right there as well. Chris Gilbert a little farther back there in 9th. Jason LePan running out our top 10 as of right now. But for Jacob Grube, he's just got to hope that he can hold these guys off, make sure he continues to keep this 2-second gap here, but he does have about 1 lap older tires than Cal Turboville and Evan Goulet. So unfortunately, that 1 lap can make a bit of a difference. It can give them that extra little edge here late in the race that they may need to close that gap, to reel in this 18 ride and try to duke it out with them for the race win here this evening. I was quite surprised when we saw, Cal and Evan come down pit road the lap afterwards. I thought maybe they would have waited, maybe 2 laps, 3 laps, and then came down. They would have given up probably about 3 or 4 more seconds to Jacob Grube, so they would have had a little bit longer of a distance to try to hunt down this 18 ride. But I think the way that they were catching them there before they came down pit road, that it probably would have worked out into their favor if they would have just kind of held on for a few more laps, made sure they had those better tires here by quite a few laps over just 1 lap. But we'll have to wait and see how this plays out. They've been the best of the best here this evening. Cal and Evan have been hooked up here this evening, and Winker's been right there, man. Some good strategy won him that stage. Here he is rolling right now in what would be the 4th position, but 5th as of right now until John Herbert comes down pit side. I think for Herbert, the game plan, it may work out for him. It may be a really good idea here for the 87 ride. I think he's just waiting too long, though. Unless if he can run this to the end, if he can make it on fuel, if he doesn't have to come down pit road, then maybe that's his strategy. Try to run it dry, run it to the end. He's only got 10 laps left here in this feature event, so if he can make it another 10 laps, but I think he's right around that fuel area. Everyone seemed to be able to only run about 26, 27 laps in that first run. For John Herbert here, for Herbert, he was last down pit road on lap number 51. Next time by, it'll be a 25 lap run, so he may be able to drive for another 2-3 laps maybe at max before probably having to come down pit side anyways. And every lap that he's out there that he doesn't get these fresh tires on, he's just giving up more and more time here to those drivers back behind him. As here he comes, finally heads down pit road. Just got to make sure you do not get caught speeding. You do not want to get a pit road speeding penalty and throw all of the strategy out your window. You just got to hope that over this, 8-9 lap run that he's going to have here, that he can use those fresh tires enough to gain back everything that he'd given away to these guys. Make sure that he gains all that track position up and be able to try to leapfrog some of these other drivers. I'm just not sure how this is going to play out for him, how far back he may be over everybody else out there on the speedways. There goes Jason LePan. That's our 9th place driver. And Kochersberger's right there. Tim Blankenbeckler, Nicholas Snyder not too far away, as John Herbert is just getting done his pit stop here. Now he will have roughly 10 lap better tires than pretty much everybody in front of him. But the thing is, with those 10 lap better tires, is that he's going to make up a ton of ground here. A lot of laps, not a lot of laps, but a lot of time that he's got to be able to try to gain positions and leapfrog a bunch of these drivers in front of him. Right now, there's about 10 seconds, those 11 seconds between himself and Tim Blankenbeckler for position number 11. So he's got to make up 11 seconds out there on the racetrack. I'm just not sure if there's going to be enough laps here for him to really gain that much time back and track any of these guys down to work himself into a better position than 12th right now. Is out in front. Jacob Grube does reconsume the race lead. Cal Turbeville and Evan Gomet come back to second and third here, and once again they're tracking down this 18 right for Jacob Grube. He sees that gap continue to shrink. These guys behind him are reeling him in lap after lap after lap. They're getting a little bit bigger in that rear view mirror, and for Jacob Grube, he's gonna have to know that he's gonna have to try to figure out a way to try to keep these guys back there at bay, whether it's trying to dump dirty air onto the nose of their race cars, trying to make sure that they make mistakes out there or push too hard and run into problems as they try to reel him in. You see K-Dub right there as well, still hanging with these guys. K-Dub having a great run there in fourth. Kyle Wiggins back in fifth. Brandon Ming in sixth. He's got Ryan Peterson all over his back bumper as they battle here. The Ridge Powersports rides there in sixth and seventh there on the speedway. Chris Gilbert back in eighth, and then we do see Jason LePan there in ninth, and Ed Kochersberger rounding out our top 10. Tim Blankenbeckler back in 11th, and John Herbert there in 12th. Now, last time around, he was about a second, almost a second and a half faster than a lot of these drivers in front of him. I still don't know if it's going to be enough time to track really most of these guys down. He may be able to hunt down the 4 of Tim Blankenbeckler, maybe get around Ed Kochersberger, but to even catch up to LePan and Gilbert, I think is going to be a tough call here. So I'm thinking it may just be a top 10. It may not even be a top 10 there for John Herbert and his strategy here this evening. But for Jacob Grube, he's continuing to run smart here, doing great laps and doing some great things as he's looking to hold these two back there behind him at bay, as he still has about an 1/8 of a second gap between himself and Cal Turbeville. What it would mean, though, for Jacob Grube with only 5 laps left to go here, to be able to hang on to this thing, to be able to keep these guys back there at base. Now you do see, oh man, Turbeville gets up into the outside fence right there, pushes it hard down through corner number 2, unfortunately washes the car up the racetrack into that outside wall, and that's exactly what we were talking about. If these two start pushing a little bit too much, if they start trying to, outrun themselves almost on the racetrack, that's where they start to run into issues, make those simple mistakes, but that simple mistake just killed about 2/10, almost 3/10 of a second from Cal Turbeville, and that may be all that Jacob Grube really needed to hold these guys up and keep himself out in front to win this race. So for Jacob Grube, that's exactly what he wanted to see in his rearview mirror, and now he'll just have to be his veteran self, trying to keep hitting his marks, keep hitting those laps, lap after lap, not making any mistakes himself, and hope that that can put him into a good position here to be able to win this feature event. As Kevin Wanker, he's right there in fourth. He'd love to try to jump back up onto the podium here this evening. He's got almost 2 seconds between himself and Kyle Wiggins, but for Jacob Grube, out in front, down across the line, again, he's able to open up that race lead a little bit more. Potentially Cal Turbeville and Evan Gourmet burning their equipment up here a little bit too early. They were trying to track him down as quickly as possible, and unfortunately that may have put too much heat into their tires, may have tore their tires up, where things have gotten a little bit more balanced out for them. That's why I thought potentially that these two would have waited a couple more laps before coming back down pit road. I thought we would have seen these guys come down pit side maybe around lap 69, lap 70, and then try to pack track these guys down and start making some moves, having much better tires, being able to complete passes easier, and being able to track these guys down. I thought maybe that would have been the winning strategy for them. Obviously, they wanted to come down pit road the lap after Jacob Grube, and that may be exactly what Grube needed to hold these guys off. It's down across the line. It's only 2 laps left to go. So 2 more laps left here for Jacob Grube to try and put this beautiful Metal Morphosis Machine LLC, our series sponsor, into victory lane here in race number 2 of the season. And for Jacob Grube, last season's champion, he finished off the season with a 3-peat in our 3-race championship battle. Jacob Grube was absolutely perfect, won all 3 races, claimed that championship, and now here in our 2nd race of a new season, looking to try to back that championship up with a big win here at Auto Club Speedway. There's only 1 more lap left to go. He's got 1.4 seconds between himself and Cal Turboville. Still a heck of a run there for Cal, hell of a run for Evan Goulmet, as they're looking to come home 2nd and 3rd. Winker back there in 4th, and Wiggins, our top 5 here on the Speedway, as Jacob Grube for the final time here this evening heads down the back straightaway into corner number 3. Nice and easy down through 3. Out of 4, just cannot make a mistake. Keep his foot in the throttle. And for Jacob Grube, down and out of corner number 4 here in the Metal Morphosis Machine LLC, our series sponsor. Grube will park them up and into victory lane here in our 2nd race of the season from Auto Club Speedway. It's Jacob Grube who finds victory here in the Richard Bradshaw presented HCK Beagles Truck Series. Jacob Grube gets it done and will find victory here today, as Cal Turboville will come home in 2nd and Evan Goulmet will come home in position number 3. You see Evan, you see Winker, they're giving their congratulations there to our race winner. Jacob Grube, as K-Dub will come home in 4th. Wiggins back in 5th with Brandon Mink, Ryan Peterson, Chris Gilbert, Jason LePan, and Ed Koshersberger are top 10. Tim Blankenbeckler back in 11th, and John Herbert in position number 12. Nicholas Snyder, Gordon Glidewell, Dimitri Curtis, Kyle Van Tassel, Tim Felker, and Brad Lane will round out the field here this evening, but only one driver gets to celebrate down here in victory lane and on the front straightaway, and that is the Warrior Racing Metal Morphosis Machine LLC number 18, as Jacob Grube captures tonight's checkered flag. We'll get him up here into the booth for his post-race interview. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up here. Let's see a round of applause. Let's see some congratulations here for our race winner, Jacob Grube. Man, what a run, what a race, what a battle there in this one, man. Pitch strategy came down to it, and let's see if we can get Grube up into the booth right now. Hey, Jacob, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker broadcasting booth. Data copy?
Hey, Aaron, I got you loud and clear.
Jacob, man, what a run, what a drive for you here in this one, as you're able to find yourself away up and into victory lane. For a little while, it seemed like maybe not the pace of the 18 run that we're used to, but for the pitch strategy, it works out perfectly here for you, as you're able to hold off Cal Turboville and Evan Goulmet, as they aren't able to hunt you down, and you're able to just drive this Metal Morphosis Machine up and into victory lane here in this one, man. Take us back through it. What's going through your mind right now as you get to celebrate down in victory lane?
Yeah, it's just gotta thank my crew chief on that one. He made the right call there. Yeah, that was just the strategy is to kind of divide it up as evenly as possible and stay on the freshest tires as possible. And I made a big undercut the first pit stop and then the second pit stop, and I was way up there with them, so I didn't know how exactly it was going to work out. But thankfully, I just got I pitted 1 lap before him, I think, and then I was just enough to stay out. And I don't know if they're battling, and that's why they couldn't catch me, but they definitely had the speed. Hats off to them. But we were able to get it done tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. A beautiful pitch strategy there. Works out perfectly for you in this one. We talked about that pitch strategy. We kind of called what you were going to do there. Obviously, coming down pit road, a lap 45, figured it would be somewhere right around that lap 65 area. That you were going to come back down pit road. I kind of thought, though, for Cal and Evan, how quickly they were catching you there before you came back down pit side for the final time, that maybe they would wait another lap or two, give themselves that extra little bit of tire to use to hunt you down late in this race. And it just seemed like that one lap better tire just wasn't enough for them to make up the gap and try to catch up to your back bumper here in this one. They got about 7/10 away from you, and then it seemed like they just started to fall off after that point.
Yeah, I think they probably knew if they stayed out any longer, then I was going to just get too big of a gap. So, but yeah, actually, Auto Club is not one of my strong tracks. So that's just that's all I could do to be competitive here and with strategy. But lots of fun. It's really great to come out here and just have a green flag race like that. Green flag pit stops and just to see the strategy play out. Like that's what you come for. So that was awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. No Ridge Powersports caution flags here this evening. Clean and green, 85 laps of just heads up battling here this evening, and you're able to play the strategy, have a great race trunk, and you park your ride up here into victory lane, man. New paint scheme, new sponsor on that car as well, man. Obviously, this is the first time we've talked to you here this year since winning the championship last season in dominant fashion. Now here we are in race number 2, backing it up with another dub. Do we see more of this? Do we see more of this 18 ride up and into victory lane, and maybe some more of that dominance that we saw there at the end of last season?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure. Like, I didn't have the speed really to win it tonight. I just, with the strategy. So, we had some guys go to some, different leagues or leave the league or whatever, and then we had some new guys come in. So, I'm pretty excited to race with them. There seems like there's lots of speed out there. So I think it's going to be a really competitive season. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Going to be a lot of fun. Going to be a lot of great racing, a lot of great action week after week. But here tonight, man, it's all the 18 riders group. You park yourself back up into the HCK Beagles victory lane here in this one, man. Who would you like to thank for another great run and great performance out there on the racetrack?
Yeah, I want to thank Metal Morphosis Machine for coming on board and sponsoring not only the league but my truck as well. So that's pretty cool, and to represent for them and get them a win, that's pretty awesome. So, and then thanks to my team for the practice that we had on Monday. It was pretty good. So, or it was on Sunday, excuse me. And then yeah, thanks everybody for having a clean race. It was lots of fun.
That was a lot of fun, a lot of great racing. We look forward to seeing you guys back in action next Tuesday night and seeing if we can find this 18 ride back up here in Victory Lane. Jacob, congrats on the dub, brother, and I'm sure we'll get you back up here into the booth a lot more throughout this season.
All right, thanks, Aaron. Have a good night.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our race winner, Jacob Groob. As Groob picks up the dub here in this one, we'll get ready now to pull in our second place finisher. Came home third last week, backs it up with a second place finish here in this one. Looked like it was his race to lose. Cal Turboville comes home in P2. Let's get him up here into the booth. Hey, Cal, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker broadcasting booth. To get a copy?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man, another great run, another great performance for you here in this one. Take us back through it as another podium, another second place finish to, start the season off. Obviously, third last week, second here this week, but it looked like for a while this was going to be your race to lose, but that pit strategy unfortunately worked out to Jacob Groob and him being able to steal this win away from you here this evening.
Yeah, I don't know exactly where he got us on strategy, but we was running more or less a pretty well basic strategy. We was just running her till we was about out of fuel and then coming in for tires. Yeah, we wasn't doing nothing too crazy. But I can't figure out how he got us, but he was still fast. I think we had good pace. If we would have had a caution, brought us all back together, we would have had a different story. But I'm still happy with how it ended up for me and Evan.
Yeah, absolutely. For you and Evan, again, back-to-back weeks here to start the season that you got your HTG Motorsports team, two up inside the podium here again tonight, man. That's going to feel pretty good coming out of, the off-season and just hitting the bats running right out of the gate.
Yeah, absolutely. Last season, I didn't have the best luck in this league. So hopefully now that we brought Evan on, we can turn our luck around. And so far, so good. I ain't got no complaints.
Yeah, no, so far, good, hard, good, clean racing. A lot of fun out there on the racetrack. And here tonight, a tight finish, man. What do you think potentially cost you? I thought for a little bit there, maybe you guys would have stayed out. I mean, maybe 2 or 3 laps after we saw Jacob come down pit road, just so you would have had that extra tires. As much as you would have given up some time to him, it seemed like you guys were catching him so fast there before that final pit stop. And I thought you guys would have used that same strategy just to try to hunt him down late in this race, and in the closing laps, having much better tires, being able to complete that pass without an issue.
Yeah, we talked about that for a few laps, but ultimately we decided to come down because we figured it would be too big of a difference to really make up. And what really held us up was we got caught battling a little more with some other cars than we wanted to, and it just kind of roasted the right front. We couldn't really do much about it. We was close to catching his draft, but not quite enough.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw you there in those closing laps, trying to get everything you can. We saw you push up the track there at a corner number 2 and scrape the outside fence. And kind of when I saw that happening with only about 4 or 5 laps left in this one, I thought to myself, and I even said on stream, I said, I think that's exactly what Jacob Grube was wanting to see in his back mirror, because that's probably going to be all she wrote for the 64 ride, and your guys' chances to hunt him down is took all your momentum, all your speed away. You gave up that extra, 3/4 of a second right there, and it seemed like that was going to be too much to come back from, and that's kind of where you guys sat right there until the finish.
Yeah, I was giving her all the wind she had, and she couldn't take it. She couldn't take it. But I'm still happy with it. I'd like to thank Evan for having a pretty good strategy and all this stuff for this weekend. Rob, even though he didn't get to make it this weekend, glad to represent his bunch on my truck this weekend. Yeah, I'd like to thank you for doing a great job broadcasting. I'd like to thank HCK and Nate for making the paint scheme, and that's about it.
Video Cal, heck of a run, heck of a drive again here, man. Third, second, maybe next week, one spot better, and finally up into victory lane for yourself, man. We can't wait to see how it plays out, and hope to see you right back up here in the booth.
Yes, sir. Hope to see you too.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our second place finisher here in this one, as Mr. Cal Turboville comes home in position number 2 here this evening. As K-Dub in the chat says, good race. I played that stage fuel mileage just right, and another top 5 as well. Yeah, that's big for Winker right there. Obviously, a stage win, plus also getting the, a top 5 run. Hell of a day again here for Kevin Winker, man. There's a few guys that have looked really, really good to start this season. Obviously, you look at Turboville with back-to-back podiums. You look at Winker, coming home second last week, fourth this week. I do believe winning both stages in last week and this week, so K-Dub's looking pretty fresh right now out there on the Speedway, so we'll have to wait and see what he can do, as he says congrats to Grube on the win. Yeah, heck of a run there for Grube, man. That strategy perfect there. Chef's kiss right there for Jacob Grube as we get ready to pull in our third place finisher now, the 68 ride Evan Goulmet, as Goulmet down pit road. Let's see if we can pull him up here into the booth. Hey, Evan, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker broadcasting booth. You get a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Evan, man, solid run, solid drive for you here tonight in this one. You and your teammate there, Cal Turboville, man, looked like you guys were hooked up and gone here in this one. And then all of a sudden, that pit strategy just plays out perfectly for Jacob Grube and steals what could have been a pretty easy 1-2 finish here for you and the HTG Motorsports team.
Yeah, great strategy. That's all it is. You called it perfect. Kel and I were just running, trying to win it as a team, because that's pretty much how you win these things. And we were doing great. Unfortunately, I think we missed out on stage points, but no, everything was working out great, moving through the field as we wanted to. Seemed in the bag, and then 18 came out of nowhere, so he deserves it.
Yeah, absolutely perfect strategy there for Grube. And no, I do believe you guys still earned second and third in the stage as well there down pit road. I think the only driver that stayed out longer than you guys and stole that stage away was Kevin Winker, who finished one spot back there behind you.
Oh, that's good to know. Great for the points.
great for the points. Obviously, good points day. You had yourself a great run last week. You got to see your teammate Robert Howard pick up the win, and then obviously Cal comes home in third there last Tuesday night. Unfortunately, late race issues for yourself, not the finish that you were hoping for, but you back it up here tonight, man, with a third place run. Great points day here at the Speedway, man. It's got to feel pretty good to bounce back from Daytona with a solid finish here in this one.
Yeah, it's good to be on the podium. It was great to see Rob win, his first win in any league. Great for him. Unfortunately, he had technical difficulties, but he should be back next week. And yeah, it was a great run. Happy with third place.
Absolutely. Well, Evan, anyone else you'd like to thank here this evening, man, for such a great performance and great drive out there on the racetrack?
Yeah, I want to thank HCK for letting me run my first season with them. Having a great time so far. Great group of guys, very clean. Thank you for broadcasting. You do a great job. Thank my parents for watching. Thank Hometown Garage. Great sponsor as always. Thank Nate for the paint scheme, and thank Banjo Time.
Beauty. Well, Evan, heck of a run, heck of a drive here in this one, man. We can't wait to see you back here on the racetrack next Tuesday night, and hopefully right back up here in the broadcast booth.
Yep. See you at Phoenix.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our third place finisher, Evan Goulmet, as Evan comes home in position number 3 here this evening, man. Heck of a run, heck of a drive there for that 68 ride as he's able to come home in that third position. Run. What a drive there for him. Huge shout out there to K-Dub with his 4th place run and the stage win. And Kyle Wiggins, solid run for that Waffle House number 14 ride. Comes home in position number 5. A pair of those Ridge Powersports rides, KR Gutters machines, back there in 6th and 7th. Unfortunately for the Ridge Powersports group here, no Ridge Powersports caution flags here tonight, man. It was all clean and green. 0 caution flags, 0 issues out there on the Speedway. So we didn't really get any of those Ridge Powersports caution flags here in this one, man. Well, that was a hell of a run, hell of a drive, and an amazing performance out of these competitors once again. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, unfortunately, that will do it for us here in this one. We can't thank you guys enough for tuning in. Everyone coming in, showing the love and showing the support here in this one. We'll catch you guys back here tomorrow night. We'll be back in the booth tomorrow night, and hopefully we'll see you guys right back here in the grandstands to cheer on our amazing drivers in the Dirt Warrior Racing League. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for tuning in. Peace and love, baby. Peace and love, ladies and gentlemen.
Vision. Planning. Possibility. At Morphosis Machine, we turn ideas into engineered reality. Whether you're working with plastics, composites, ferrous or non-ferrous metals, our capabilities and vast partner network ensure no project is too big, too small, or too complex. From concept to completion, your success starts here. Discover how Morphosis can elevate your machining needs today.
Legends winning tires bite the ground. Beagles trucks where legends are crowned. Morphosis name burning in the night. Lights flash, speed clash, we're taking flight. Racing thunder, terror in the air. Beagles trucks where beyond compare. Morphosis, we ride, we dare. Fast and loud, no time to spare. Rafting close to the windshield blade. Adrenaline rush feels a fire grenade. Roaring past the clouds, will let you roar. Every lap, every turn, craving more. Push the pedal down, nothing left to lose. Victory's a choice, and this is what we choose. Racing thunder, terror in the air. Beagles trucks where beyond compare. Morphosis, we ride, we dare. Fast and loud, no time to spare. No time to spare. Push the pedal down, nothing left to lose. Victory's a choice, and this is what we choose. Racing thunder.